looking at the phone Monday. Your man didn't call. I stared at the phone Tuesday. I just know God told me this was him. Brother didn't call. So Wednesday, God told me, he said, I want you to pray for him. He said, I want you to pray for him. I want you to take communion on his behalf. I want you to pray for him right now. And I was saying to myself, I ain't desperate. But I was obedient. I prayed. And then after the prayer and after the communion, the Lord said, call him. I said, hold it. Said the playbook reads this way. They run after you. You don't run after them. And the Lord let me know that this playbook that we go by is not necessarily his playbook. And you be obedient. And you call that man. So reluctantly I did. And I said, I know this is unusual, and I really a little bit nervous about it, but I'm just being obedient. God told me to call you. He told me to call you right now. And he said, and I told him, I said, and at such and such a time, he told me to pray for you and take communion on your behalf. And would you know, the man said, okay, I'll call you back. And I'm saying to myself, I heard that before. But he did. Like an hour and a half later, he called back. And he told me, he said, at the time you say you were praying, he said, I was in Hialeah fighting an issue with the Hialeah Police Department. And he said they were getting ready to come across the street to arrest me. He said at the same time you said you were praying, the officer stepped across the street, he stopped, and he turned around and walked away and said, sir, go on about your business. And when he said that, and when he acknowledged that, he looked up and he told God, that's my wife. That's the one for me. That was his confirmation, but it also let me know that he was not so interested in me. He was interested in doing what was right by the community. And that was my cue to know if I wanted this man, I had to be married to the community right along with him. So I got all excited. And then he said, okay, I want to take you out. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. I mean, I don't even know how to act. I ain't been out in like, I don't know how long, you know. We went to Denny's. I mean, how you gonna win somebody going to Denny's? So I got past the Denny's thing, and you know, I worked for the college board, and I was out of town. So when I came back in town, he said, let's meet me, I'm gonna pick you up, we're gonna go out again. I said, okay. We went to IHOP. And then at IHOP, the man had the audacity and the nerve to propose to me, talking about would I marry him, and didn't have no ring. Really? So I don't even know why I said yes, but I did. So after we got all those particulars out of the way, then the initiation began. He wanted me to know what my life would be like with him. And I needed to he needed to know when I was gonna make the grade. First of all, he had me riding around with a car with no air conditioning. And I said, will the windows roll down? He said, mine does. But I rode. We went to the Boykin Building for ministry. I had never been in that atmosphere. So when I get there, the first time I go with him for street ministry, they have a shooting. It was Shadavia Jenkins. It was a shooting. I mean, police everywhere. He said, come on. I said, come on, where? We're doing what? He said, we got to get out. This is the prime time to minister. Look at all these people. I said, listen. I'm saying to myself, listen, people are here. Police got guns drawn. You walking up to these people saying, hello, how you doing? And then giving them a try. Come on. And so I just here. So that was our courtship. Ministry. And when we got married, I said, honey, are you happy? Look at me, he said, well, we'll see. Because I had no idea that there was more to come. But there was much more to come. And at some point, I understood. I became a Pulse member, board member. Got involved with Pulse, got involved with the community, got involved with doing all other things. I got involved with his idea of travel, which was not the same as mine. His idea of travel was to get into a car and travel from one portion of the United States to the other. My idea of travel was to go to the airport, purchase a ticket, get on a plane, and meet you there. But his thing was, every state we went to, I had to get out, stand by the sign so he can take a picture. And I never understood that. I'm like, the grass over here is the same grass over there. It's not a different color, but I had to do it. And you know what? Every time there was a road trip, I'd be kicking and screaming and saying no, but I was in the car. And he looked at me and he smiled. He said, you all right? And I give him that fake smile. And he said, it's going to be all right. Kept driving. That was him. We didn't argue. We didn't fight. We didn't fuss. He said, I fight every day in the streets. I want to come home and find peace. And I made sure there was peace in that house. It wasn't absent of conflict because we didn't always agree. We didn't always see eye to eye. But if I felt passionately about something and I expressed that, and he felt passionately about something and he expressed that, I was taught that a woman yields ground. And I yielded ground. But I didn't stay there. I wasn't passive. I yielded ground, but I went on my knees and I began to pray. And I didn't go in the back room and I didn't holler and say, Jesus, save this devil. Let him be delivered. I didn't go through all of that. I just say, Lord, I know that this is what you told me. And in time, he will come to me and say, you know what? I feel my heart softening. You must have gone to God on me. I say, baby, I did. He say, all right. But there's one time he went to God on me. And this really hurt me when I found this out. Anybody who knows me knows I love shoes. There's not a shoe place, not a shoe rack, all the way in the back, on the sale, on top of the sale, that I would not find. Even if I didn't have an outfit to wear, I would buy the shoes because they were nice. And my husband approached me one day. Can you believe this? This man approached me one day and said, baby, don't you think you have enough shoes? And I gave him this look, and he knew it was going to be trouble. So he went to God, and he prayed. I didn't know it. But about a year later, I went to buy some shoes, and the Lord's Spirit said, you don't need those. And I left them alone. I came home, and I told my husband, I said, baby, guess what happened? He said, what? I said, honey, I went to the store, I saw these beautiful shoes, and the Lord said, don't get them, and honey, the desire just left. The man said, thank you, Jesus! He said, Lord, it took a year, but you answered my prayer. me that while he gone, I don't backslide. And go back to that. But you know, I loved that man. That man loved me, he loved his family, he loved his community. And if there's one thing I want to leave as I sit down, I want you to think about this. I like football. I don't know everything there is to know about football, but I like football. And I do realize that there's two teams that play, and they have players in all types of positions. And most teams have an owner, they have a head coach, they have the offensive and defensive coordinators, they have special teams coaches, they have coaches for everything. And we have two teams that we're dealing with in this world. We're dealing with Team Satan and we're dealing with Team Jesus. So my husband was on Team Jesus. And let me tell you about Team Jesus. On Team Jesus, God is the owner. God is the head coach. God calls in the plays. And Jesus, they are all one. He is the quarterback. So when Jesus gets the call from God, who is the head coach, he calls in the plays. It don't matter if you just listen to him, what position you play. Jesus don't care if you trained as a wide receiver, if you trained as a cornerback, if you trained as a cornerback, if you trained as an offensive line. He don't care what position you train for. He will retrain you if you simply listen. Follow the play. Whatever the play is called, follow the play. Because Jesus is omniscient. He knows everything. He's all powerful. He can do anything. He's omnipresent. He can go anywhere. So even if you don't feel that you're equipped to make this journey, you listen to the quarterback. You follow those instructions. Because see, Team Satan has a whole lot of people on that team. God only needs one. My husband followed Team Jesus. He did what the quarterback told him to do. And what dried up my tears, and I cried all night Monday after they told me he had a torn aorta and it couldn't be repaired. And the doctor tried, and we called every heart hospital. They called every heart hospital in Miami. No bed at the University of Miami. No bed at Miami-Jackson. No bed at Mount Sinai. He was at North Shore. North Shore knew they couldn't do it. So they sent him to the only place where there was a bed, which was Palmetto. And when he looked, the doctor looked at it, he said he has a 0 to minimal % opportunity of survival. Said if you were healthy, you would have a 33% chance to survive this, because he had high blood pressure. Over so many years, the blood pressure, the blood, instead of going through the aorta and going through the valve, it started seeping into the walls of the aorta and tearing the walls down. And he said most times you will have a massive heart attack or an aneurysm and never know what happened. But God gave us an opportunity, Tab and I, an opportunity to be able to get him someplace so that there could be something done. And he always said, if there's any chance of me living, you take that opportunity. And so we signed the consent. And the beauty of it was, when he was getting ready to be taken up for surgery, he was coherent, he was talking, and everything. He looked up to heaven. He said, Lord, if there's any sin in me, he said, right now, if there's anything in me, he said, Lord, forgive me. He had that opportunity. But what I love about it is he didn't have to call anybody on the phone. He didn't have to say, get this one on the phone, get that one on the phone, get the other one on the phone, let me bear that phone. He didn't have to do that, because that man lived a holy and righteous life. If he rubbed you the wrong way for righteousness, he never apologized. But if he said something out of turn, he was humble enough to go back and say, I didn't say that right. He had that opportunity. And when he left, when he left and God took him into that surgical procedure, we prayed and we prayed and we prayed and we believed God. We believed God, and you know what? At the end of the day, God spoke, and he spoke well. The doctor, he said he repaired the mitral valve, but every time they touched the aorta, the tissue disintegrated. He said he had never seen anything like it. He couldn't attach anything to it. He couldn't touch it. It just disintegrated. That was God saying, y'all can do whatever you want to do, but I've spoken. And so what he did for me, I cried all night Monday night. I cried all day Tuesday night. I cried Wednesday morning, waking up crying hysterical. And I stopped. I said, Lord, I'm not asking you why you did it. I'm not asking that. I'm not angry with you. I'm not upset. I said, your will is sovereign and I'll accept it. I said, but Lord, I need your help. I said, God, I need to know how to move forward. Because I got to move forward. You left me here. I said, I got to know how to move forward. And the Lord stopped and he said, when Nathaniel was born, I purposed things for him to do in this life. I had a list of things I needed done from the time he was born. And he said in record time, every purpose that I had for this man, every person he was supposed to interact with, every cause he was supposed to champion, every sermon he was supposed to preach, every single individual he was supposed to witness to, whatever he was supposed to do, he did it. I looked at my list and I checked everything off. And he said, because he had done what I destined him to do, I took him home. And so he told me, he said he fought a good fight, he kept the faith, he finished his course. Now he getting his crown. And then he chastised me. He said, I'm gonna tell you what your problem is. Your problem is you hold people closer than you hold me. He said, I'm the one who promised never to leave you. I'm the one who said I'll be with you always, even until the end of the world. He said, people didn't promise you that. I promise you that. So if you hold me closer and wear people looser, when I choose to take them because it's their time and they serve their purpose, then you'll start looking to me. And that is my mantra from here on out. I love my family. I love all of you. But when God takes you, I still have a hope. And my hope is in Christ Jesus. I'm moving forward so I can fulfill the mission that God has sent me here to do. Wherever that is, I am alone. So when you hear that friend has gone to glory, don't you shed unnecessary tears. You better miss me. Yeah, miss me. But don't hold me so close that you can't live without me. Because I would have fought a good fight. I would have kept the faith. I would have finished my course. Hallelujah. That's what I'm about right now. I work in the school system and I got colleagues back there. I got a course to finish. I don't know if it's to them or to the children. I got a course to finish. I don't know who I got to witness to, who I got to love on, who I got to hug, who I got to testify to, but I'm going to finish my course because I'm on Team Jesus. I love it.
Come on, standing ovation. Come on, standing ovation. Come on.